Mr. Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, Minister Delegates, Abdelatif Loudei, Mes Généraux, Ambassador Fisher, honorable members of the U.S. delegation, ladies and gentlemen. Upon high instructions of His Majesty King Mohammed VI, Supreme Commander and Chief of General Staff of the Royal Armed Forces, I'm delighted to welcome you, Mr. Secretary, and your delegation here at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Your visit is significant in many ways. It is the first of a Secretary of Defense under the Trump administration. It is the third official visit to Morocco of a sitting U.S. Defense Secretary during the 2 last decades. And it comes complementing an important sequence of high-level visits to the Kingdom of Morocco by U.S. officials, such as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Senior Advisor to the President Jared Kushner, Advisor to the President Ivanka Trump, Acting Homeland Security David Bokoski, MCC President Shane Cranecourse, IDFC CEO Adam Boller, among others. Mr. Secretary, distinguished guests, occasions like today's are often appropriate opportunities to look back and commend all that we have achieved together. And there is indeed much to celebrate. It started back in 1786 with the signing by the Sultan Mohammed III and John Adam and Thomas Jefferson of the US-Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship. This treaty, which formalized US-Moroccan relations, is also the longest standing treaty in America's history. And it is not a coincidence that the two key words in that treaty are peace and friendship, as we have indeed always believed in peace as a pillar of our alliance. Our long-standing alliance has not only endured the test of time, we have stood side by side throughout the major challenges that shaped the 20th century and has transitioned into the 21st century stronger than ever. It has adapted to new, bigger, and more vicious threats, namely terrorism, violent extremism, transnational and cybercrime, illicit trafficking of all kinds, and separatism. Particularly the fight against terrorism and international threats is an equally important component in addressing shared security challenges. Intelligence sharing, participation in the coalition against Daesh, our leading role in the Global Counterterrorism Forum, and the joint security operations demonstrate the strength of our uninterrupted and expanded cooperation.
It is an honor to be here with you today for the signing of this historic defense cooperation roadmap. It is the latest milestone in a partnership that dates back more than 200 years. In many ways, Morocco was the first friend of the United States. And Mr. Minister, while it's true that we signed that agreement in the 1780s, your country, Morocco, was actually the first to recognize the newly independent United States in 1777. Now more than ever, our two nations are working closely together to tackle the challenges of an increasingly complex security environment, ranging from counterterrorism and other transnational threats to regional instability and broader strategic challenges. Morocco is a leader when it comes to this area. We discussed today many ways in which we can improve our defense cooperation, our partnerships, our interoperability as the foundation of that relationship. Mr. Minister, you and your colleagues mentioned today, we did on multiple occasions, the importance of Africa Lion and how well known it is throughout this region as a key training and exercise event for many, many countries, not just between the United States and Morocco.